Steelers a first-place team now in their division, which is nothing new. The Panthers are a second-place team, but they're playing, in the minds of many, like a first-place team right now. But when you're not the first-place team, you can't. You really need games like this because, let's face it, New Orleans is probably going to win that division, and that means Carolina has to make sure they keep on winning to get themselves in position for a wild card. This is a good matchup tonight. This should be a heck of a game.
Yeah, I'm very pleased with the way Carolina changed their offense. Norv Turner, people thought he was too old to come be the OC, but you know what? What did he do? He went back to when the Panthers were the best, allowing Cam Newton to run the ball. Newton's a beast. Let him run the ball. He's happy running the ball. It's a positive offense when he's running the ball.
And a healthy McCaffrey has made a big difference as well. He's the ultimate utility guy because you can do anything you want with him on the football field.
He has 44 targets receiving already.
Yep, and a bunch of runs, and he's just
95 carries as well.
He's just I thought this guy was a top 10 pick coming out of college because I just knew he's a football player. He's got the genes coming out of that McCaffrey family, and he's living up to billing at this point. I mean, this guy is he's a bigger star than he gets credit for being.
No question. Now, normally the negative with Thursday is you're the NFL team on a short week and traveling. But you look at Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh just is off a trio of games against all three division foes, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Baltimore, their biggest rivals. So, I went back and forth in this game. And, yes, Pittsburgh's defense has been good the last few weeks. But, again, they were against Cincinnati's offense, Cleveland's offense, and Baltimore's offense. So you have to put that in perspective.
You can also add in, I don't know why, you can also add in it's against the Baltimore defense, which is suddenly not very good, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I mean, what a turn. I mean,
wow.
and it's not as if, though, they have massive injuries like some other teams.
They're just not playing very good football.
A couple weeks, people exposed them, and that's it.
That's why I know it seems almost sacrilegious to be saying John Harbaugh's on the hot seat. This team actually is not living up to billing. Meanwhile, the Steelers, for all the criticism Mike Tomlin occasionally gets in the media and from fans, he keeps finding a way to win the division, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, again, a lot of that's because you have Cincinnati and Cleveland, and you only have one competitor to face.
You still got to go out there and win the games.
I understand.
And they've taken some big hits. I mean, Le'Veon Bell, I know Connor stepped in and done a great job, but Le'Veon Bell is still a big loss. And Shazier was irreplaceable on defense. He was one of the best players in football. And yet they managed to find a way to overcome these things. These are the types of things that can tear a clubhouse down. And it doesn't happen in Pittsburgh. So maybe Tomlin, I know he'll do some strange things in game from now and then, but I think he runs a real tight ship in that clubhouse. This is a team that gets along and has the clubhouse chemistry that keeps them as one of the major players in the NFL. And I think that's on Tomlin.
And, you can say how many coaches would have their team in this position if you're without the best running back in football.
Sure.
And, all of a sudden you had
I love, and look, I know it was one play, but this is one of the things I really like about Tomlin. That play call with Josh Dobbs last week, when Roethlisberger was out for one play and they're about like they have their own 2-yard line with a 3rd and long. And, 90% of the coaches are just going to hand the ball off. They run a draw play, get some better field position for a punt. Tomlin didn't do it. He said, you know what? You're the quarterback on this play. I'm going to trust you to make a play. And Dobbs did. And that having that type of faith in your players, that to me is great coaching. So for all the questionable things that might take place from a strategic standpoint, this guy is not afraid to get second-guessed. And we would have been second-guessed heavily had that pass not worked last week with Dobbs. That's just such a plus for me. And that's part of the reason I think the Steelers stay in contention every year. I don't think their roster compares with New England's. And look, they might not be good enough to beat the Patriots. Same thing with the Chiefs. But Pittsburgh's in the mix once again, and they're not a team I'm going to be anxious to bet against when it matters.
Yeah, and the offense is so much better at home.
Yep.
So, looking at that now, Antonio Brown did get ticketed, pulled over, taken to jail this morning. Nothing's happened of it. It was just he was driving 100 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. What every NFL player does the morning of the game. So
he's getting psyched up for the game.
But since nothing's come out and he's going to play, my opinion on this game is I'm a slight lean to the over. Again, Pittsburgh's offense at home, I just think can get enough done, and Carolina can move the ball with Cam extending the drives, running the ball.
I would have a slight lean to the Steelers. but it's not a game I'm playing.
Nor my total is either.
No, it's so strictly opinion. If you want to follow it, go ahead, but it's not something I'm heartily recommending. WagerTalk.com. I have a free hockey game and another 4% play, which actually I posted as a free play in my blog. I got them mixed up, so if you want to know what my plays are in hockey tonight, I'm going to give you one of them in a moment, and the other one's free at Wager Talk, so I have nothing to sell. I do have football games up for the weekend, one of which I'm very enthused about, and I think it's going to end up being a shorter card than it's been the last few weeks, but it's been going real well, and I like the quality.
You know, a quick note to our subscribers. Normally, a 7-day all-access package is $99.
Right.
Right now, if you go to Wager Talk and you get Dave's or mine or anyone's 7-day package, put it in, and then where it says enter a code, enter TV59, you'll get a 7-day all-access for $59. So you'll get Dave's college football, NFL, hockey, college basketball, the entire sports. $59, code TV59.
Check it all out at WagerTalk.com. Time for us to go to our play of the day.
Now, the play of the day.
Play of the day is brought to you every day by Lions Physical Therapy. Can you lower that music just a little bit so I can hear myself? Thank you. It's the LPT play of the day. And, we talk about Lions Physical Therapy. They've been around for a long time now. Tremendous amount of actual clinical experience on their staff. The ratings for this company are they're off the charts good. I mean, they really know what they're doing. So if you're talking about post-surgery rehab, or if you've had a personal injury, maybe a car accident, something along those lines, you do not want to take your chances getting yourself physically back to where you want to be with somebody who doesn't have the credentials. Lions Physical Therapy, John Lyons and Company, they've got the credentials. They are documented.
Do they have one location here in Vegas,
yes,
or do they have multiple?
They have one location on Tonopah. The phone number, and you can find out where the location is 702-476-0222. And if you want to check out the website, and you basically can get a tour of the facility on the website because there's pictures of all the different rooms, and you can find out about the staff there. It's very transparent. Great stuff. LionsPTLV.com. Lions Physical Therapy play of the day. Tonight we will look at the matchup between the Minnesota Wild and the L.A. Kings. The L.A. Kings, the first team to fire their coach this year. They let John Stevens go last week. The Blackhawks have followed suit with Joe Quenneville getting the pink slip over the weekend. By the way, the NHL does not fart around as far as firing coaches are concerned. They're the fastest on the draw, no question about that. When it's time for a change, okay, here we go, let's make the change. So Willie Desjardins is the interim head coach of the Kings, as opposed to the Blackhawks, who named a full-time head coach. Desjardins has that interim tag, which is interesting because he'd like to get the job full-time. And the best way to do that is for a team that's been struggling to suddenly start playing a little better hockey. Well, I think you can argue that the Kings had their best 60-minute performance in their last game, Desjardins' first behind the bench. They really played well for 60 minutes against the Ducks. And I know the Ducks aren't that good, but it was still a solid performance. Tonight, the competition a bit tougher. The Minnesota Wild, good hockey team, has been playing well lately, although they did lose their last start on the road. But this is still they're a tough opponent, no question about that. Nevertheless, I like playing on teams that make a coaching change. I think it does get a spark, and I think you saw the beginnings of a spark the other night with the Kings, and I think they might be a follow for a little bit. They'll regress to their norm soon enough. That's what happens with these deals. But I'm going to give an edge to the Kings, about minus 110 in that game, so it's in the pick'em range. L.A. Kings, your Thursday LPT play of the day. That's going to do it for today's show. We will be sticking around this facility to do our Wager Talk podcast with Marco D'Angelo, Vegas Runner, Ralph Michaels, and myself. We'll have that up on the internet later on, YouTube. We'll post it on Twitter as well. Thanks to Jason Simbel from CG Sportsbooks. Jared Justice, great job behind the board, buddy. Thank you, sir. We will come back and do it again with our Golden Nugget edition on Friday. Until that time, I'm Dave Kochen. Thanks for listening. Have a great night.